Hi, thank you for coming by Tori Magoo 44. Today is April 12th, and I'm continuing on my cult, What is a Cult? And this is on sacred science. This is my Pepsi jacket that I happened to get. Someone gave it to me, and not that they're a sacred science, they're not, but I thought it was interesting. They definitely have their label on there, and I thought I'd show you some of Scientology's, which is definitely a cult, some of their a couple of things I have. One, the first thing that I saw when I showed up in Scientology was a ton of people had on, this is what's called a clear bracelet. And on the back, it says, I don't know if you can read it, but it has my name. You can't really, but it has my name and, let's see, what does it say? Clear number, let's see, what am I? 13,088 at flag, Tori Bazazian, 22 April 79. That's when I went clear. And I probably wouldn't have gone clear except for Arthur Hubbard, who said, you're a last lifetime clear. Because for me, having epilepsy, I originally arrived in 1969 from this book, Dianetics, Modern Science of Mental Health, right? And in it, in the original Dianetics, L. Ron Hubbard said, all clears have no somatics, no pains, a perfect memory, a perfect IQ. So having epilepsy, I was like, okay, I'm not clear. I'm not going to be clear this lifetime with my body. And I met with Arthur Hubbard, and this was way before Last Lifetime Clears came out, which now tons of people are Last Lifetime Clears. It was kind of a landslide once it came out, but it was before it had come out. And I had lunch with Arthur Hubbard, and he said, I told him my story that I'd only read 3 chapters of Dianetics, had a fight with my dad in Chicago, pulled down my shade, wrote, your morals are no school, screw you, and I hitchhiked from Chicago to Los Angeles to become a Scientologist. And he goes, you're a Last Lifetime Clear. And it just all click, 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 you know, it's just amazing how delusion can work. You know, it's like, it was like, oh yeah, this is what happened. This whole story came out, I attested, there you go, I was clear. And it was totally invalidated on OT7, meaning they made it wrong, you're not clear then, that wasn't true, which was another nightmare, but anyway, doesn't matter. Point being, this was the first book these Scientologists gave me, Dianetics, Modern Science of Mental Health. Now, I'm talking about a sacred science. That's another one of the steps to a cult, which means it is sacred. And what happens with that is it actually cuts off your critical thinking, and you can't really look beyond the cult or the belief or whatever the group is saying, this is true, this is the fact, this is it. I've showed you before, this is a perfect one, keeping Scientology working, which has to do with having the correct technology, knowing the technology, knowing it is correct, teaching correctly the correct technology, applying the technology, seeing that the technology is correctly applied, hammering out of existence incorrect technology, knowing or knocking out incorrect applications, closing the door on any possibility of incorrect technology, and closing the door on incorrect application. Hey, does that shut off your thinking of anything else? You have to get, it is nothing but Scientology. That's it. That's why I call it the Truman Show. That's it. You are in there, and the weird thing is, so many people, you out there, have learned so much about Scientology that the people in the show don't know. They don't know about L. Ron Hubbard. They don't know that he lied. When I left, when I escaped out, I didn't know he'd taken drugs. I'd fought him for 30 years on medicine because I have epilepsy. I take medicine for it. I had to fight them every step of the way. And then when I get out, I find out he was popping pills all the time. He lied about his wives. He had 3 wives. He said, oh no, I was only married twice. Total lie. He died with psych drugs in his ass when they're all fighting against psych drugs. It was just on and on and on. The controversies are just unbelievable, when you actually find out about it. But the people in the show don't know about L. Ron Hubbard. They won't listen about it. I used to go out and handle, quote unquote, the critics, meaning I was supposed to get rid of them. And they would be shooting all these facts about L. Ron Hubbard that are actual facts, that are in testimonies and court documents that you can look up on the internet and study and read about. But did I hear them? Hell no. It was like plexiglass, just bounced right off. Didn't matter what they said, bounced right off. The only thing that got me looking was a guy named Brian, and if you're listening, Brian, I love you. I wish you would come back and pick it. I really miss you. But he came up to me and he started just asking me very gently, very nicely, if you're free, why can't you read certain books? And that is so true for a sacred science. It's like, if it's really a science, science looks at both sides, right? But in a real cult, you can't look at both sides. They know if you looked at both sides, you're going to be out the door, right? So they keep it very closed in, very shut off. If you haven't heard Lisa Presley's song, I'm going to put it in here. Lisa Presley has been a member. It's Elvis Presley's granddaughter. And she is a daughter. I always forget if it's his daughter. Yeah, I think it's his daughter. Anyway, yeah, it's his daughter. But she's a member of the Church of Scientology for years. Probably one of the most unhappy people I've ever known or been around. And probably right. Probably right in being unhappy. Because she probably saw it more for what it is than I did. But anyway, now she's written a song. And I'll put it in here. I'll put the links. But Lisa, if you hear this or any of your friends hear it, I hope, I pray, you are waking up. I cannot say it enough. Keep looking. Keep listening. Keep, look, listen, learn, and leave. That's it. Look, listen, learn, leave. And that's true for any cult. That's it. Because if you start looking at both sides, and you learn both sides, and you listen to both sides, there's a very good chance you're going to leave. Why? Because it's a BS Truman Show that is keeping you suppressed, just as Lisa talks about in her song. It is suppression. I love the words in that song. And I'm going to put the links to the words, too, because sometimes it's hard to understand what she's saying in the song, but the words are very, very potent. They're very, very cool. So anyway, that's another section for what is a cult. It's another thing to learn about. These are two books I've told you before, but Thought Reform and Psychology of Totalism by Robert J. Lifton. He's really cool. And then Margaret Singer, who Scientology hates. Now I understand why. Cults in Our Midst. Really good. So both of those are really good. And then the third one I forgot to mention is Steve Hassan's book, Releasing the Bonds. Empowering people to think for themselves. Very good. He was in the Moonies. But he and I have done some talks together. Anyway, thank you all for helping expose the abuses of the Church of Scientology. The walls are tumbling down. That's all there is to it. DM, you can be thinking your stats are up. Emma, I love you. I love you for what you've done with ESMB. And I also just want to put in a pitch. Please keep it somehow, some way. Because it's fantastic what you've done. So many people have called me who've learned and woken up because of the information on xscientology.net. And I hope you keep it. Somehow, I hope you turn it over to someone. Thank you for all that you've done, because you have done a ton, way more than many, many people. And I really, really appreciate it. I love you, and I love all of you who've helped in exposing this insidious cult. All right, so I hope it helps you some. Thank you, and peace out. Have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.